Let's think about the power of metaphors in group coaching. In the realm of group coaching, metaphors are truly a potent tool for transformation. They transcend the literal to touch the hearts and minds of our participants in profound ways. Metaphors, just like in one on one coaching, with their ability to convey complex messages and ideas in very simple, relatable terms, really serve as bridges between the known and the unknown, the conscious and the subconscious. And they serve as bridges between our participants too. So let's shed some light on how they can really help to facilitate deeper understanding, foster connection, and catalyze change. Let's think about how they unveil the unseen. Metaphors have the unique capacity to make the abstract tangible, to bring to light the unseen forces that shape our thoughts, our behaviors, our emotions. And in a group coaching setting where individuals come together to explore and grow, metaphors can really illuminate the commonalities of human experience. So they make the personal universal, and they make the universal personal when we push our participants to think about them in their own context. So, for example, by likening a personal journey to a voyage across the sea, for instance, a coach can help participants to see their challenges, see their triumphs as part of a larger narrative of exploration and discovery. Metaphors also help to facilitate deeper understanding. They help to simplify sometimes really complex concepts. They make them accessible, relatable to all participants, regardless of their backgrounds or level of understanding, which is super helpful when we want to make sure that we're speaking and resonating with every participant in the group. So, a metaphor, for example, such as navigating through a storm, can immediately convey the idea of facing or overcoming adversity. And then participants can make sense of that for themselves. So, they can grasp sophisticated ideas quickly, apply them to their own life, apply them to their own leadership or their career, whatever context you're coaching in. They'll definitely foster a deeper understanding of the topic that the group has chosen to discuss. How do metaphors create connection and empathy? In group coaching, we really are thinking about gaining perspective and understanding each other. So when a coach uses a metaphor that resonates with the group, it can create a sense of unity, a sense of common purpose, if you like. So, for example, we might be talking about the group's journey as planting seeds for future growth. This can instill a collective sense of hope and anticipation for what is to come. In one of my groups, I remember we were talking about symbols, and one person shared that they were thinking about the sword as a symbol, and that became a metaphor throughout our session. And people were referring to the sword as they were going into battle, or they were using the sword to protect themselves, and it created true connection. And at the end of the session, there were a couple of inside jokes that came back after this very session, that were being used around carrying a sword around. So the imagery not only connects participants to themselves, but it also helps to connect them to each other and to the coaching process itself. The other thing about metaphor, and perhaps this is the most profound ways that metaphors help in group coaching, or the most profound power of metaphors in group coaching, is their ability to catalyze change. Metaphors, human, can really challenge participants to view their situations from new perspective. That can be incredibly inspiring. It can lead to insight and lead, therefore, to transformation. So, by framing obstacles as stepping stones rather than roadblocks, a coach can encourage participants to reframe their challenges as opportunities. So the shift in perspective can really spark or can be the spark that ignites change. And I also want to point out, in my previous example, the a participant came up with the example. So you want to make sure that not all of the metaphors are coming from you. And on the contrary, think back to how we try to weave the thread. Which metaphors or which images did your participants share that you can use to help them go deeper in their understanding? Finally, and that's the last piece I'll share about metaphors, that they're really great for nurturing creativity and innovation. They encourage creative thinking, problem solving. They invite participants to draw connections that might not be immediately um, immediately related. And so in the safe and brave environment of group coaching, metaphors can really stimulate imaginative solutions to personal and collective challenges. So we encourage you to really think about how you can use metaphors in your group coaching programs in order to support, in order to help connect, in order to create deeper meaning, deeper understanding for your participants. They're really an essential tool in the group coaching context. And by harnessing their power, we as group coaches can really facilitate rich, rewarding coaching experiences that guide our participants towards greater self-awareness, towards greater empathy, and of course, towards personal and professional growth. I'm hoping that this is helpful in helping you to understand how to create metaphors, but also how to listen to your participants' metaphors. And I look forward to you embarking on your own voyage of discovery and transformation.